How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Chof Aleph, Daf 21 of Masechta Makos. Friends, there's some interesting stuff in today's Daf. Chaver, let me ask you a question, Chaver. So we're already almost done with Masechta Makos. It feels like we just started, but we'll be done in a few days. And then we're going to be starting Masechta Shavuos. Let me ask you a question, Chaver. Does anybody have strong feelings on Reuven, Shimon, Levi versus Itamar, Geva, Nadav? Should we stick with our friend Ariel's suggestions, or is it easier to work out who's who with the traditional names? I've heard a little feedback that maybe Reuven and Shimon was easier, but have you gotten used to it? Well, I think that if there's any need for names from between now and the end of the Masechta, I don't actually know that there is. I think that we'll stick with Geva and Nadav and friends for Masechta Makos. This will be their Masechta. The question is would there be a preference to return to our old friends or to continue with our new ones? Okie dokie. So today we're going to start on Daf Chof Amud Beis, about 5-10 lines from the bottom at the two dots. Somebody who scratches himself, and I think the point is he makes himself bleed. Taner Rabbanan Viseret. So we have how should I say this? Okay, I'll just say this. Okay, basically there's two psukim that talk about cutting yourselves. We're going to start with the first one, okay? So the first pasuk is V'seret lo nefesh lo sidnu b'v'sarchem. Don't cut yourself because somebody died. Somebody dies, don't say, oh, dag, now I'm so sad, I'm going to cut myself. Don't do that. So Tanarbanan V'seret, a cut. Yochel afilu seret sarat al beiso shenofa vasfinoso shetova bayom. Is it possible that cutting yourself is usher even if you're cutting yourself because your house fell down? Right, the big bad wolf, was that his name? The big bad wolf came and huffed and he puffed and he blew your house down, or that you had a ship and it sunk at sea. So if you cut yourself for that, you're in violation of this pasuk. Tamilomer la nefesh, for a soul. And al hames bilvad. No, this isser, this lav, is specific to cutting one's self in response to hearing news about that somebody died. How do we know that somebody who cuts himself 5 times, because about one person, right? You heard that somebody died and he cut himself 5 times. How do we know that it'll be chayav lashes, 5 rounds of lashes? Tam lomer v'seret l'chayav kol srita v'srita. When it says I see. Oh, interesting. Interesting. What is the what's his name? Rivan say? Okay. Anyways, I'd prefer to learn it out from the second opinion, the Rivan, which is Viseret, the Vav is coming to include all scratches, all cuts. So even 5 times for one mace, you'll be chayiv 5 rounds of lashes. Rabbi Yossi says, Rabbi Yossi, minayin lemesarit srita achas al hey mesim, shu chayiv kol achas v'achas. How do we know that if somebody cuts himself once, but for 5 dead people, so 5 people died, I guess, and he cut himself, so we chayiv 5 times. Some lo nefesh, the chayiv al kol nefesh v'nefesh. When it says lo nefesh, it's to say you chayiv for each and every soul. So if you cut yourself because of 5 people, so you chayiv for each one. 1 second, I thought we already said that lo nefesh is coming to say that you're chayiv for cutting yourself because of a death, to the exclusion of if your house was puffed down or if your ship sunk at sea. So I thought la nefesh was coming to exclude those scenarios. Not to say that you're chayiv for each nefesh. So kasavar Rabbi Yossi srita v'gedida achas hi. So now introducing the second pasuk where cutting oneself comes up, and that is Banim atem lashem elekechem. You are the sons of the children of Hashem, your God. Lo tizgodu, don't cut yourself. V'lo tasimu karcho bein enechem lameis, and don't make a bald spot between your eyes for a mace for somebody who has died. So that's a second pasuk, and in the second pasuk it says lo tizgodu. So for the person it says, the first pasuk it says v'seret lo nefesh lo sitnu b'v'sarchim. The second pasuk says lo tizgodu. So now Rabbi Yossi's opinion is srita v'gedida achasi, that srita and gedida are the same thing. So basically you have two psukim that say don't cut yourself. Uchsiv hasam lemes, and in the second pasuk by lo tisgodu it says lames. So already from there we know don't cut yourself for a mace, and that frees up la nefesh to teach us for each and every nefesh. Omar Shmuel amasarid bechli chayiv. So Shmuel says something interesting. It's very subtle. With the Rivan's explanation helps out a bit. Generally, srita, scratching, would be with your hand, and gedida would be with a vessel. Shmuel says, what does he say? Shmuel says, Amar Shmuel masarid bechli chayiv. Somebody who does srita with a vessel, not with his hand, but with a vessel is chayiv. So basically, essentially what he's saying, if you read a little bit between the lines, is that meaning srita can be done with your hand, sure, but it can also be done with a vessel. What he's saying essentially is that srita and gedida are the same exact things. Essentially, like Rabbi Yossi said, that srita and gedida are the same thing. And what's the nafkamina? Well, if srita and gedida are the same thing, and then that means that if you do srita, whether with a vessel, whether with your hands, you're in violation of both v'serd lo nefesh lo sitnu b'v'sarchem, as well as lo tizgodu, to be in violation of both, because they're the same thing. You're in violation of both psukim when you cut yourself, whether with your hands or whether with a vessel. Now, meisve, we have a contradiction. Srita v'gdida achasi elash srita biyad v'gdida b'chli. But we have a contradiction because in this brayso that we're quoting now, we're saying yes, both srita and gedida mean cutting yourself, but they are different in that srita is with your hand specifically, and gedida is specifically with a vessel. So it's a question on Shmuel, because Shmuel had said that srita can even be with a vessel. So answers the Gemara, Hudamar Rabbi Yossi. Well, no problem. Shmuel holds like Rabbi Yossi. We saw Rabbi Yossi's opinion that srita and gedida are the same thing. So of course Rabbi Yossi would therefore say that if srita and gedida are the same thing, that means srita is whether it's with your hand or whether with a vessel. It's the same thing. And Shmuel says like Rabbi Yossi. This other opinion in the brayso that's quoted in the brayso says that srita is specifically with your hand and gedida is specifically with a vessel. Tanitana Kamid Rabbi Yochanan, the teacher of Bryce is stopped for Rabbi Yochanan, al mace bein biyad bein bechli chayiv. When it comes to if somebody dies and you cut yourself, you'll be chayiv whether you cut yourself with your hand or whether you cut yourself with a vessel, like a knife or something. Excuse me. Al avodas kechavim, but if you're cutting yourself for avodah zareh, biyad chayiv, you're chayiv if you cut yourself with your hand, bechli potter, but you're potter if you cut yourself with a vessel. But 1 second, we have a pasuk. Where's this pasuk? In Malachim Aleph. It says vayisgodu kimishpatim b'chayravos uvaramachim. That it says that they were cutting themselves for avodah zarah with vessels. So it sounds like avodah zarah cutting is with vessels. Elema biyad potter b'chli chayiv. Rather flip it around, with your hand for avodah zarah you're potter, but with a vessel you'd be chayiv. V'chayiv al ha-rosh, and we said that you're also chayiv for cutting off your payas. Machve Rav Sheshes bein pirkei reisha. Rav Sheshes pointed to his temples. Don't cut off the hair of your temples, your temple hair, your payas. Ve'al hazokon shtayim mikan v'shtayim mikan v'achas milamato. And also be careful with your beard about using a razor on your face, on the 5 corners, 2 on each side and 1 at your chin. Machve Sheshes ben Pirkei Dikna, so Rav Sheshes pointed to the 5 places, but it's not very clear what those 5 places. It's a machlokas. Rabbi Eliezer Omer Notlam v'chulei. Now Rabbi Eliezer says that if somebody warned you, don't cut off the corners of your face, and you shave your whole face and cut them all off, well then Rabbi Eliezer says you won't be chayiv 5 times, you'll be chayiv once, because Rabbi Eliezer holds that it's all one lav, and therefore even if you like cut all 5 corners of your face with a razor, you will only be chayiv once, according to Rabbi Eliezer, not 5 times, meaning if you did it with one warning. And we had said in the Mishnah that you're only chayiv if you use a razor, right? So people who shave their beards, they use like a beard, a beard shaver, or a shaver or a trimmer, but they don't use a razor. So Tana Rabbanan the Rabbi said, it says by the Kehanim that they can't shave their beards. Does that mean that what, they can't touch their beards? They can't even use scissors? So will be chayv for using scissors? Don't destroy, right? It says by just regular Jews, don't destroy the hairs of your beard, like destroy the follicles. And we learned out Gzer Shava Peya, right, to apply the halachas, across the pipe, to apply them both directionally, bidirectionally, I don't know, from one to the other. Gzer Shava. Okay, so meaning by the Kohanim it says, don't shave. What do you mean? Don't shave at all? So therefore, it says by regular Jews, don't destroy the hairs of your face. Ilo sashris yochol im liktob malket v'hitne yehei chayiv. So if we have the pasuk of don't destroy the hairs of your face, so what if you use a plane? We've had this Gemara before. I didn't know what a plane was then. I don't know what it is now. But if you use a plane is some kind of thing that destroys hair follicles. If you use a plane to cut your beard, would you be chayiv for that? It says no, don't shave. Okay, so we have these 2 psukim. One pasuk says don't shave. That sounds like don't shave at all. The other pasuk says don't destroy your face. So I might think that, okay, if I destroy my face with a plane, that's not allowed. So but it says no, but it says shaving and it says destroying. So haketzad giluach sheyesh bo hashchosa v'yom zesar. Right. What's not allowed is a type of shaving in which the hair follicles are destroyed, and that is shaving with a razor. Meaning, if you use a plane, that's not considered shaving. That's something else. And if you use scissors, that's not destroying the face. But if you use a razor, like if you go to any barber shop and say I want to shave, they'll use a razor. That's like a regular way of shaving. But it destroys the follicles, therefore it is not allowed. But scissors are okay. Using a plane, I guess, is technically not usher, even though I don't know what that is. Rabbi Eliezer almost says, whereas Rabbi Eliezer says a plane is problematic. I don't understand. How could Rabbi Eliezer say a plane is problematic? If he learns the Gzer Shava, like we were just discussing, well then a plane would not be, a plane would be usher, a plane would be potter. You need a razor in order to be usher. If he doesn't learn Gzer Shava, well then even shaving, even scissors is a problem. Then even scissors are a problem because it says lo yigalechu. So the olam gomer gzeir shava. Really, Rabbi Eliezer learns the gzeir shava, but v'kasaver ane nami giluach avdei. However, Rabbi Eliezer holds that you can go into, I guess wherever Rabbi Eliezer lived in Lod, you can go into a barbershop and say, I want to shave, and they would say, would you like a shave with a razor or with a plane? So apparently a plane is a type of shave as well, according to Rabbi Eliezer, and therefore it is not allowed because it destroys the follicles. Says the Mishnah, Koisev Ksoivis Kaika. Chever, do you know what that is? You know what a Ksoivis Kaika is? A tattoo. Do you know what a tattoo is? A tattoo is when you take ink and you apply you apply ink to your dermis, and essentially it stays there forever. It's permanent. So kosav v'lo kaika, if he wrote on his skin but didn't, get it down to the dermis to make it permanent, kaika v'lo kosav, if he poked himself with a needle, if he poked his dermis with a needle, but there was no ink. Einu chayv, he's not chayv. Ad sheyichtov v'yikaka b'dio v'chol davar shu roshem. You only chayv if you tattoo with ink, or with some kind of ink that is going to leave a mark forever. Reb Shimon ben Yehuda mishum Reb Shimon Omer, Einu chayv ad sheyichtov sham es Hashem. Shenemar uchsov es kakalo sitnu b'chem ani Hashem. Reb Shimon ben Yehuda says, name Reb Shimon, that you're only chayv if you write a name. The Gemara is going to talk about what that name is. It's a name of avodah zarah. Okay. Amalei Rav Acha brei derava li Rav Ashi, says Rav Acha brei derava to Rav Ashi, ad yichtov ani Hashem. Mamish, right? Because it says uchsov es kakalo sitnu b'chem ani Hashem. So it says Rav Acha brei derava to Rav Ashi that the only thing you're chayiv for is if you tattoo the two words Ani Hashem. That's what you're chayiv for. Mamish. Specifically that. Omar Lei, Rav Ashi responds to Rav Acha brei derava, Lo, no. Kitani by Kapara, it's like by Kapara says, Enu chayiv ad shichtov shem avodas koichovim. No, you'd have to write the name of avodah zarah. Shenemar uchsovas kaika lo sitnu b'chem Ani Hashem. Says, don't tattoo yourself, I am God, Ani Hashem v'lo acher, and nobody else, there's no other gods, so don't tattoo the name of some other gods. But so I don't know if this is specifically they're discussing the opinion of Reb Shimon, or are they saying that this is like what the halach is, but my understanding is that either way it would still be also. The question is, would you be chayiv makos for it? But let me actually see, does the article say anything about that? The Gemara discusses Reb Shimon ben Yehuda's ruling. Okay, so they're specifically talking about Reb Shimon ben Yehuda. I think that the Tanakama, I'd imagine, was saying though that all tattoos are osur. Omer of Malchia, Omer of Adar bar Ahava. Says Malchia, Omer of Adar bar Ahava. Osur lo la'adam shitin efer mikla al gabi makoso. So it says of Malchia, Omer of Adar bar Ahava, that if you have a wound, don't heal it by putting efer mikla on it, because it will leave a permanent mark and it'll be like a tattoo. Amar Rav Nachman says, Amar Rav Nachman b'der Rav Ika, shvud shvachis v'gumis Rav Malchio bloris efer mikla v'gvina Rav Malchio. Basically, there were two, I guess, Amoraim. One was, are they Amoraim? Sounds like it, yeah. I guess that there were two Amoraim. One's name was Rav Malchio, and the other's name was Rav Malchia. Now, we just taught a halacha about tattoos, about ksovas kaika, about efer mikla by tattoos, or really by cuts, and we quoted it from Rav Malchia. Now, it says Rav Nachman brei Rav Ika that there are a number of sugyas that are attributed to Rav Malchio and a number that are attributed to Rav Malchia. So it says Rav Nachman brei Rav Ika that the sugya of shvud, the sugya of shvachis, and the sugya of gumis are all attributed to Rav Malchio, whereas the sugya of bloris and the sugya of efer mikla, our sugya, vigvina, cheese, Rav Malchia. Those are Rav Malchia. Rav Papa Amar says Rav Papa masnisa Rav Malchia. Rav Papa says, look, of those 6, I think, sugyas, some of them are brisas, some of them are brisas, mishnahs, some of them are not. So Rav Papa says that all the mishnahs and brisas are Rav Malchia, whereas Shmaitza, the other teachings are Rav Malchio. Those are Rav Malchio. Or maybe even, 1 second, was it? Okay. Wait, where am I? Mishnah, okay. Yeah, my sister. Nisha the where am I? Masnisa? Yeah, okay. I don't know. Where are we? I don't know. Anyways, okay. Oh, Masnisa. Anyways, whatever. He says Mishnahs and Brisas are Rav Malchia, and the other things would be Rav Malchia. V'simanech, Masnisa Malchasa. Excuse me. And the way to remember it is Masnisa Malchasa. If you're trying to remember the Mishnahs and Brisas, are they Rav Malchia or Rav Malchio? Well, Masnisa Malchasa. Okay, so the Mishnahs and Brises of Rav Malchus. So my benai, what's the difference between Rav Papa, who gives this, who says Masnisun Rav Malchia, Shmaitza Rav Malchia, versus Rav Nachman Breder Ravika, who says Shvut Shvachas V'Gumas Rav Malchia, Bloris Efer Mikla V'Gvina Rav Malchia. So you can know Shvachis. The difference is Shvachis, because according to Rav Nachman Breder Ravika, he listed Shvachis with Rav Malchia, but it's a Brisa, so therefore it should, according to Rav Papa, it would be with Rav Malchia. Rabbi Bar Abaye copied Afilu Rivda de Krusilta. Okay, Rabbi Bar Abaye was concerned, even if you just have like the pinprick of a blood letter, that also, even that small little pinprick should not be you should not apply a for mikla to it. Rav Ashi Omar Kol Makom Sheish Sham Mako Makos Mochiach Alav. Whereas Rav Ashi says, look, wherever you have a wound, and there's like a scar or whatever, and there's a mark over there, and you're like, whoa, what's that, a tattoo? And like, no, obviously it's not a tattoo, there was a wound, and Efer Mikla was put there to treat it. So Rav Ashi says he's not super concerned about that. Now we get up to a new Mishnah. Nazir Shosa Yain Kol Ayoim. A Nazir who is drinking wine all day. That's bad. Not allowed to do that. Ein Chayv Elachas, he's only Chayv Makos, one round of Makos, even though he was drinking wine all day. Amrullah Al Tishte Vushose. But if they keep on saying, hey, don't drink wine, he drinks wine. Hey, don't drink wine, he drinks wine. Hey, don't drink wine, he drinks wine, etc. Chayav Aklachas Vachas, then he's going to be chayav for each and every one. If he was going to the cemetery all day, Eno Chayav Elachas is only chayav once. Amrlo, Altitama, Vumitame, Chayav Aklachas Vachas. But if they keep on saying, hey, don't go into the cemetery, hey, don't go into the cemetery, hey, don't go into the cemetery, but he keeps on doing it, so then he's chayav a bunch of rounds of makis. If he was shaving all day, and chayav elachas is only chayav one round of makis. But they keep on saying, hey, don't shave, hey, don't shave, hey, don't shave, etc. And he keeps on doing it, and so then he's going to be chayav another round of makis each time. A person who was not a nazir, just a regular guy, he was wearing kilayim all day. And chayav elachas is only going to be chayav makis once. Amrlo al tilbash v'poshit v'lovish chayav elachas v'achas. But if they keep on saying, hey, don't wear kilayim, hey, don't wear kilayim, and he keeps on taking off his kilayim and putting it back on, well, he's going to be chayav a bunch of rounds of makis. Yesh choresh telem echod v'chayav olav mishum shmona lav. You can have a person who plows one, furrow, I guess. He plows a furrow, and he can be chayav makis 8 times for plowing that one furrow. How so? Hachoresh bishor v'chomer. Well, if he's plowing with an ox and a donkey together, right? The pasuk says al tachoresh bishor v'chomer yachtav, that you can't do it. It's kilayim. So that's a problem. Vein mukdashin, and they are hektish. So the Rivan explains, for example, the shor is a bechor, and the chomer is a peter chomer, and you're not allowed to work with them. So therefore, by working with them, he's in violation of working with a bechor and working with a peter chomer. So that's essentially another 2 lavs, right? One is that there was climb. The other one is that each one was its own type of hektish. So that's 3. B'kilayim b'kerim, and he's plowing kilayim b'kerim, not just that there's the climb of shor v'chomer, but there's also kilei kerim. So that's 4. Uvashvius, and it's shmita, where you're not allowed to work the land b'chlal, so that's 5. V'yomtiv, and it's also yomtiv, where you're not allowed to do malachos, so that's 6. V'koyin v'nazir v'beis hatuma, and he's a koyin as well as a nazir. Both are types of people that are not allowed to become tmeis, and he is in a place where there is tumas sameis. That is 7 and 8. Chananya ben Chachinai Omer Afalovish Kilaim. Chananya ben Chachinai says that also if he's wearing kilaim, then that would be another problem. Amalo eno Hashem, to which they said, yeah, but that's like a whole different thing now. The thing we're focusing on, the fact that he's plowing. Not don't introduce wearing kilayim into this. That's a different thing that he's doing wrong. To which Hanania ben Chachinai fires back, and he says, yeah, but what does a nazir and a kohen going into a beis hakvaros have to do with anything? Says the Gemara, Amar Bevai Amar Reb Yosi, Lo poshet vilovesh mamish ela afilu machnis umotzi beisad unkli shelo. So it says Rabbi Amar Yossi that when we say by the kilayim, if they say, hey, don't wear kilayim, hey, don't wear kilayim, and he keeps on taking it off and putting it back on, doesn't mean that he literally takes it off and put it back on. Even if he would just take his arm out of the sleeve and put it back into the sleeve, that would be enough. If he keeps on doing that, that would be enough. Machvir of Acha Brei Dirav Ika Ayuliv Afuke, and Rav Acha Brei Dirav Ika demonstrated what this means to be putting your arm in and out of your sleeve. Rav Ashi Omer Afilu lo shoa ela kedei lifshot v'lo bo shchayv, says Rav Ashi, even if he didn't do that, even if he didn't take anything off, but he said, hey, don't wear kilayim, and he just sits there and waits long enough that he could have taken it off, and they say, hey, don't wear kilayim, and he just keeps on ignoring them, then he'll be accumulating rounds of makis. There was this person who can plow a furrow and be chayiv 8 rounds of makis for it. Amr Rabbi Yanai said that in the chabura, I guess there was some kind of group that got together and they decided that if you have like seeds that are in the ground but they're not yet covered, and a person covers up those seeds, the kilayim seeds, let's say grape and wheat together, so then you'll be chayiv for kilayim for covering those seeds. You'll get makis. Omar le Reb Yochanan. Reb Yochanan says to his Rebbe Reb Yanai, Lav Mishnasenu Izo. Isn't this our Mishnah? Yesh chorish telem echod v'chayiv olav mishum shmoina lavin. You have a person who can plow 1 furrow and be chayiv 8 lavs. Hachorish beshor v'chamor. He's plowing with an ox and a donkey. Ve'mukdashin and their hektish v'kilayim bekeren. And what's the next one? It's kilayim bekeren. What is this kilayim bekeren when you're plowing a furrow? Lav de michse baide de ozil? Is it not that as the plow was plowing, when it moved the ground, it covered the seeds? And that would be considered kilayim. So is our Mishnah not saying what you're saying, right? Or really is what you're saying not already our Mishnah, that covering up seeds of kilayim will be a violation of kilei karim? So Amar le, Rabbi Yanai says, yes, you're right. However, I do need to point out, says Rabbi Yanai, Ilav did daloi lo chaspa mi mishkachas marganisa tusa. If not for the fact that I picked up the shard of pottery, would you not have found the pearl that was beneath it? Meaning, yes, Rabbi Yochanan, you are right, but you never would have thought to understand from our Mishnah that covering seeds is a violation of kilayim. We're going to see in a second how else you could have learned the Mishnah. But it says Rabbi Yanai, only once I stated that covering seeds of kilayim is a violation of kilayim, did you then say, oh, and that's what our Mishnah is saying, by when you plow a furrow and you could be in violation of kilayim, it means that covering the seeds of kilayim is kilayim. Right? Meaning it reminds me of often you'll hear somebody say like a Dvar Torah or something like that, and then it reminds you of all these supporting things that you've learned, but you wouldn't have necessarily thought of those things or thought about those things in that way had not you heard somebody kind of trigger it. Amalei Rish Lakish Rabbi Yochanan says, Rish Lakish Rabbi Yochanan ilav de kilsech gavra rabba. If not for the fact that Rabbi Yanai praised the way that you learned our Mishnah, i.e. to say that covering seeds of kilayim is a violation of kilei karim, meaning assuming that it's grape seeds along with other seeds. Havamina, I would have thought to understand our Mishnah, Masnisa Mani Rabbi Akiva, that our Mishnah is like Rabbi Akiva de Amar, or is the opinion of Rabbi Akiva de Amar, who says Hamekayim kilayim loka, that somebody who keeps kilayim gets makas. What does that mean? Meaning, I would have thought to explain our Mishnah that it's not the kilayim the kilei karim in the Mishnah is not talking. I would have thought to say it's not talking about where there were seeds of kilayim and by plowing you cover the seeds. No, I would have thought that the kilei karim actually had nothing to do with the plowing. Yeah, you plowed 1 furrow. There was kilei karim somewhere else in the field, unrelated to this plowing. But the Yuchai Makas, because you left the kilei karim there. You knew that it was there, and you didn't remove it. You didn't uproot it. You were Makayim it. You kept it there. right? I would have thought to understand the Mishnah that there was kilei akarim somewhere else in the field, and you also didn't uproot it, and that's why you're also in violation of kilei akarim. So my Rab, it says Makayim kilayim loka. Rabbi Akiva says that even just keeping kilayim around can get you makis. My Rabbi Akiva, what's this opinion of Rabbi Akiva? The Tana that we learned in the Brisa, menachesh v'amechape b'kilayim. Somebody who weeds a field of kilayim, thereby aiding their growth. Or somebody who simply covers over seeds of kilayim, b'kilayim, loke gets makis. Rabbi Akiva Omer says, Rabbi Akiva afa mekayim, even somebody who keeps the kilayim seeds there would also get makis. My time with Rabbi Akiva, how come Rabbi Akiva says this? The Tanya, the Willen Brisa, sadcha le'sizor kilayim, don't plant your field with kilayim. Ein li zoreya. All I know is somebody who plants kilayim is in violation of the law of mekayim minayin. How do I know that even keeping the already planted kilayim there is also a problem? Tamulomar kilayim sod chalo. Basically, if you read this pasuk, it says, where's this pasuk? Pasuk Aleph. As chukosai tishmo behem tcholo sabir kilayim sod chalo sizra kilayim. Right? Don't have kilayim with your animals, right? Mixing animals. And also don't have kilayim in your field, okay? But if you kind of mush it together and right, instead of saying behem tcholo sabir kilayim, comma, sad cholo sizor kilayim, if you read it all in one breath, behem tcholo sabir kilayim, sad cholo sizor kilayim, so you can kind of cut out those three words in the middle, kilayim sad cholo, and say you can't even have kilayim in your field. Even just maintaining it is a problem. Chevre, that was Daf Chof Aleph of Masechta Makos. We learned a few interesting things today about cutting yourself, about tattoos, and about Makos. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow for Daf Chof Beis Masechta Makos. Peace out.